Hello and welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the southeast. The shocking number of carers living in poverty. Medway Food Bank joins a campaign for urgent action.
You just can't make those ends meet as much as you try, so you'll prioritise your bills, and that means less for yourself or, for food.
Plans to pour sewage effluent from thousands of new homes into a Kent river. Those against it say it could cause serious environmental damage.
Also this evening, tulips as far as the eye can see. We take a look at the stunning spring display that's helped to land these grounds into the finals of the Garden of the Year.
And how's this for over-egging it? The Strood chocolatier that claims to have made the UK's biggest Easter egg.
Good evening. New figures shared with ITV Meridian show a shocking number of carers across the southeast are relying on food banks to survive.
Well, 1 in 7 unpaid carers need food vouchers, and figures from Carers UK found more than 1 million others are living in poverty.
Well, as part of a new campaign, Carers First and Medway Food Bank are teaming up to call for better funding in adult social care. With our report, here's Joe Cosham.
Maybe we can ask, please, can have now.
Lana has been her godson Bob's carer for the last 15 years.
A phone call who the GP phoned to sort out your learning disability appointment.
Caring for him is pretty much a full-time job for Lana, except she doesn't get paid for it.
It can be, less hours one week. It could be I've got disability football, which is all day at Faversham. It could be a doctor's appointment, a couple of hours in the week.
You do an incredible job looking after Bob and caring for Bob, but are you looking after and caring for yourself? Are you able to?
It's tough, yeah, the financial side. I'm an unpaid carer, so for people who are a paid carer, I'm imagining it's probably difficult as well because it's not a lot of money. It is ridiculously stressful. If you're not looking after yourself, if something happens to you, then who would look after your loved one?
Despite her selflessness, Lana's like more than 1 million carers living in poverty across the UK and relies on a food bank just to make ends meet.
Thank you so much.
Is there ever a part of you that wants to care less for Bob so you can look after yourself a little bit more?
A little bit, yeah. So having to then reprioritise your own needs is a level of guilt, if I'm honest. So and worry. You're going to always worry if that person's okay, and you put something else in place. You're putting that person's needs before your own. That's generally, and that just becomes a mantra. It's just how things are. Is that person okay? Have they got food? Has their bills been paid? And then you're second to that.
Medway Food Bank identified the growing number of carers needing their support. As part of a new campaign, they wanted the public to know just how crucial carers are to propping up social care.
Now, to get carers allowance, you've actually got to be caring for 35 hours. So you've got to work for 35 hours to get it. So that breaks down to £2.38 an hour. So carers being paid £2.38 an hour for their work. That's less than a fifth of minimum wage, which is quite insulting, really, for people who are, doing such a fantastic job. It's such an important job, and I think, as you see on the side of the bus, if those carers weren't doing that work, it would cost the economy £184.3 billion, and that's an absolutely huge, staggering amount of money.
It can happen to anyone that overnight things happen, and you're caring for someone else, and it changes the dynamic, it changes your finances, it changes your career path. And you wouldn't have it any other way because you want to look after those people, but it can mean that you are needing financial help or there are extra stresses around the family overnight.
The government says it's raised carers allowance by £2,000 a year and values the work unpaid carers do. But campaigners warn if they stopped tomorrow, it's not just the system that would fall apart, but the lives they hold together. Joe Caution, ITV News, Gillingham.
In other news, a new image has been released by Kent Police in their search for a 76-year-old woman from Gravesham. Well, Caroline Groom was reported missing from the Northfleet area, having last been seen on Monday evening. A CCTV image now places her at Darnley Road in Gravesend at 1 a.m. on Tuesday. Her family and volunteers are tonight searching the area.
Police are investigating a sexual assault at Dover Castle. 2 women reported being attacked by a man in the castle's wartime tunnels yesterday afternoon. Kent police are examining CCTV footage and appealing for witnesses they haven't yet spoken to.
Parents on the Isle of Sheppey are making a renewed plea for action over the island's shortage of secondary school places. Well, dozens of children have been offered places off the island up to 30 miles away with 4 hours of travel time, meaning some would have to leave home at 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, in a statement, Kent County Council says it sympathises with parents' concerns and is making extra places available at one of Sheppey's 2 academies. Well, parents say that's a help but not a solution.
There are fears that plans to pour sewage effluent from thousands of new homes into a Kent river could cause serious environmental damage. The Environment Agency has been asked to grant a permit for treated wastewater to be pumped into the river belt outside Ashford.
Well, it would come from the evolving garden town of Chilmington Green, where more than 5,000 homes are planned. Opponents say it would have a devastating impact on wildlife on a river that barely flows during the summer months. With the story, here's Tony Green.
Outside Ashford, several streams form the upper river belt. It becomes a site of special scientific interest downstream, and it's where the Environment Agency has been asked to grant a permit for discharges from a new wastewater treatment works at the Chilmington Green development, where hundreds of homes have been built and hundreds more are coming. But local landowners say there's not enough water in the river to take waste away.
In summer or late summer, from July through to probably early October, the riverbed at the top of the river is either dry or low flow or no flow. So how does the sewage effluent get diluted? And that is the concern of landowners who are working on projects in the upper belt area for biodiversity and environmental improvement and indeed river improvement. You know, we all accept that there has to be an increase in housing. We can't get away from that, like it or not. But we need sustainable supplies of water, and we do need adequate infrastructure to deal with sewage.
Most of Ashford's wastewater goes into the Stour, but the high levels of nutrients are affecting the Stodmarsh Nature Reserve, meaning an alternative must be found. The council had refused planning permission for the Chilmington Green treatment works, but it was granted on appeal. One of the reasons why Ashford Council wanted to refuse permission for the treatment works is because they weren't convinced that a discharge permit could be issued without risking local watercourses, which have a seasonal and limited flow. You can see here, just a few miles downstream from Chilmington Green, the water level is low and the water flow is sometimes going upstream and not downstream. In a statement, Hodgson Development said the proposed facility has been designed to mitigate any concerns regarding the ecological health of the river belt. Every new housing development produces wastewater that requires treatment, and wastewater recycling facilities are regulated and monitored by the Environment Agency. We will not start construction until an environmental permit has been issued, which will confirm that the facility will operate safely and within statutory limits.
I think we all know the complications with discharging. You know, there's certain points where, you know, high flow, high rain, they've got to discharge, you know, basically raw effluent into the river. And also the river belt is a tributary to the River Medway. So further down the line when it joins the River Medway, so it's not just going to have an impact on the belt, it's going to have an impact on the whole of the Medway catchment.
The Environment Agency says they will review all permit applications to ensure they meet stringent environmental, technological and health requirements before deciding whether to grant them. But for now, this application is still being considered. Tony Green, ITV News, Shaddixhurst.
A man who robbed a 92-year-old woman of her handbag in Kent has been jailed. Jerry Morn, who's 25, snatched her bag while she was walking her dog in Rainham. While trying to keep hold of it, she sustained an injury to her face and was knocked to the ground. Morn fled the scene. He's been jailed for 3 years.
Now, order repeat prescriptions early and before Easter. The message from South East Coast Ambulance Service as it prepares for a busy bank holiday. It expects to receive more than 20,000 calls to NHS 111. It's asking people to use its services wisely.
Well, also taking place over the 4-day weekend is a major programme of railway upgrades in the southeast. Engineers will take to the tracks between Eastbourne and Hastings, as well as Canterbury West and Minster. Network Rail says the works will improve reliability.
Now, the search continues for a lottery winner, possibly in Sevenoaks, because that's where, in October, the winning Set for Life ticket, paying £10,000 a month for 30 years, was bought. There is just over a week left to claim the prize. Could it be you? I wish it was me.
I wish it was you, because you might lend me some money. That'd be all right.
Well, maybe.
Maybe not. You're watching ITV News Meridian in the southeast. Still to come, Holly will be here with the full forecast.
Yes, and there are some changes afoot as the Easter holidays wear on. Join me to find out exactly what's going on.
Oh, I wish the sun would continue shining.
You want a lot, don't you? Win the lottery,
I want
sunshine.
Sunshine, I want everything. I want it now. Of course, you can find more on today's top stories in the region, all on our website. The address is always itv.com/Meridian. Any news you have, want to give us a call? 0808 1010 095 is the number to dial. And remember, you can also follow us on social media.
Now, the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international headlines at 6:30. With the details for us this evening, Charlene White.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, the latest on the Trump tariffs. He's had a dramatic change of mind and put those changes on pause. In the United States, stocks fell when the market opened. Here, it surged. We'll make sense of all of that for you. Another court defeat for Rebecca Vardy and another victory for Colleen Rooney over the Agatha Christie libel trial. And the King and Queen wrap up their tour of Italy. So join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
We certainly will. Now, at a time when many high street businesses are struggling to stay afloat, takeaways across the region are bucking the trend. Well, the Tonight programme is looking at how, in the last 8 years, the number of takeaways in England has increased by nearly 18%. But with the advent of delivery apps, what does it mean for the future of our high streets?
It's a real struggle for our hospitality sector in particular. They have struggled to recover from COVID. They aren't back to full strength. We haven't seen a return in high streets and city centres to full visitor footfall and numbers. And those businesses have been hit by high energy, high food price inflation, labour costs and the cost of living. And that means that around a third of them are operating at or below break even.
And you can watch the Tonight programme. High Streets Are Takeaways Taking Over on ITV1. And ITVX from 8:30 tonight.
Now, if you're looking forward to enjoying egg or two this Easter, how about this one for size? Kent-based chocolate makers Cocoba claim to have created the UK's biggest and heaviest egg.
Well, it took 5 days to make and will eventually be melted down and sold, with some of the profits going to charity. Sarah Saunders is at the chocolate production unit in Strood, where the egg was created.
Easter egg, anyone? How about this one? It weighs 300 kilograms, which I'm informed is about the weight of 3 baby elephants, and it's 7 feet tall. It is the brainchild of Cocoba founder Darren Litton. Darren, if you make Easter eggs, do you just automatically one day think, I'm going to make a really giant one?
Pretty much, although a few years ago we launched our 2-kilogram Easter eggs, which are quite big in themselves, and we send those out to customers around the UK and they absolutely love them. And then Cocoba launched our 4-kilogram Easter egg a couple of years ago, and customers love that even more, and we're getting a lot of feedback from customers asking us to go even bigger. So we pretty much thought, why not go from 4 kilograms all the way up to 300 kilograms?
You accepted the challenge.
We did accept that challenge.
But I should say, you didn't put this together.
I didn't. I'd love to take credit for that, but it was our wonderful team.
Well, let's go and have a chat. Reg, you did have the honour of creating this egg, and I gather it was quite a challenge.
It certainly was a challenge. Received an email from Darren back in January saying, we want to make a 250 kilogram egg, and I thought he's got the K in the wrong place. But it transpired, no, that's what he wanted. So we had a look at it and said, well, okay. Had a brainstorming session with the team. Team said, we've tried this previously, it hasn't worked, Reg. No chance. Went away for the weekend, came back, refreshed the following week and said, right, we're going to give it a go. And then we hatched the plan. And then we developed what we have here.
So am I right in saying that the first time around, it cracked?
It cracked. So it's the sheer volume of chocolate and the weight. So within the mould took about 170 kilograms of chocolate. That's half the mould. and sheerly lifting it out of the mould, that's when it cracked, unfortunately, for us.
But you've done it, and I gather that it is going to eventually be broken down.
Well, we think. I'm changing my mind. No, that's the plan. So after Easter, we will break it down and melt it and make some bars. That's the plan. So.
And some of the money will go to charity. But you don't want to see it go now.
No, I don't. I've grown fond of it, and you just think the sheer hard work that everyone's put into this. And it's been a cross-functional team work on this, so it's been, yeah.
Oh,
when you look how beautiful it is.
It is beautiful, but I've got a challenge for you. Maybe it'll make it easier to let it go. Break this one up for charity. Next year, giant Easter rabbit?
It's a great idea. It's a lot of chocolate, isn't it?
I could eat a lot of that egg.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I did think when we went to Sarah, she'd be there, face full of chocolate with a big hole in it.
So we don't know what happened to the egg.
No.
It's all in pieces.
No.
What is it about Easter egg chocolate that tastes better than normal chocolate?
I don't know, because I like a white chocolate one, and it
Do
does,
you?
yeah, and it's smoother. Nice.
We
Only a week to
digress.
go. Yes.
Anyway, let's move on. Now, it has fantastic views across the South Downs and the River Arun, and a rich history as well. And now the grounds at Arundel Castle are competing to be named the Garden of the Year.
Yes, it's one of 3 in Kent and Sussex to make the last 8 in the Historic Houses competition. And with the sun shining at this Easter holiday, we sent Lucy Warhurst along to find out why the castle's garden is so special.
It's a cacophony of colour. Nearly 140 varieties of tulips in full bloom. And Arundel Castle is famous for them.
So talk to me about this particular bouquet.
Oh, this is absolutely beautiful with tiered areas of tulips. And then there's beautiful Apple Dawn of Beauty, there's Purple Prince, Purple Dream. It's a stunner.
Head gardener and landscape designer Martin Duncan has been planning it for a year.
So this year it is stunning. The results, I mean, you can tell on the people's faces coming through, they're just loving it. You know, we're getting thousands, I mean, well over 2,000 a day at times, you know, people just coming and enjoying the tulips.
There's something quite special about a castle, whether it's the history or the majesty. But in spring, on a sunny day, well.
And with 150,000 tulips, it makes this into a real fairy tale castle.
Arundel Castle boasts soaring towers set on 40 acres of stunning grounds in the South Downs. But today, it's the tulips that are the star of the show.
We did over 1.4 million bulbs over the last decade. So, yeah, flower power personified.
Each one planted by 8 resident gardeners and a team of volunteers.
We started sort of September, sort of starting to cut things back, and into November the bulbs turned up, and then we started planting them, and we finished just before Christmas. Very busy.
So 120,000 bulbs planted this year. How many did you plant?
Well, I got to 2,000 and then I lost count. It was so many. I just kept going.
They're hoping it's enough to get the public vote for this year's Historic Houses Garden of the Year. These flowers will be in bloom for another 2 weeks. Then the wildflowers take over. But they're already planning next year. Lucy Warhurst, ITV News, Arundel.
Absolutely stunning, isn't it?
Yeah.
I always think when you drive past Arundel, it's like going into a mythical world. It's so stunning.
Yeah. And imagine planting that. I planted about 20 tulips in pots.
Bet you were tired
I was
after
like, wow,
that.
that's a lot of tulips.
Yeah, think of doing 2,000
I know.
plus.
Incredible.
And it was a beautiful day there as well. And Holly's here now. And it was a beautiful day eventually when the sun decided to come out.
That's right. And I wasn't convinced it was going to make an appearance for all of us. I was watching the satellite carefully today. Most of us started like this. Take a look. This was Hastings to begin the day. Peter Norman was commenting what a shock to the system it was this morning after recent mornings. This is what it looked like on the satellite. So yeah, for much of the east of the country and ourselves, underneath that cloud being drawn in on this northeasterly, this moisture from the North Sea. But sunshine got to work, burnt off the cloud, and for this afternoon we've got away with those blue skies, and this is what it looked like in Ramsgate a few hours later. Not a cloud in the sky, apart from a couple of contrails there, but yeah, just a much nicer end to things.
So lovely, but I think there is a downside at this time of year because we are all hay fever sufferers, I think, to various levels, and I can start to feel the beginnings of it.
Yeah, so I can as well, because you're allergic to grass, aren't
Yes.
you? Yeah, me too. So officially we're not quite in the grass pollen season, but apparently the monitors are just starting to pick up the first few pollen grains around. For tree pollen sufferers, though, it is a different story. Take a look at these levels for tomorrow, up to very high. So this is birch and this is ash at the moment.
That's
so for any,
That's you.
yeah, they are very high at the moment, so not good conditions out there. It's a particularly bad year. It alternates from less bad to bad. This is a bad year. Another downside, I'm afraid, well, not a downside really, but another thing to just bear in mind is how high the UV levels are getting now. So we're up to level 5, which is the top end of moderate. The sun now, believe it or not, is about as strong as it is in late August. Really? And I think that often catches people out because it peaks at around the solstice, which is in June. So the sun is strong, which of course is nice to enjoy, but you have to take a little bit of care. Here is your forecast.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Well, yes, eventually that sunshine made an appearance for today. Some lovely blue skies overhead. And we've got more of those to come, I think, for tomorrow. And temperatures rising that bit further for many of us as well. Now, high pressure is still dominating things. Tonight, that means it will be quite chilly. Some mist and fog forms. As I say, tomorrow, some sunshine. But you can see the way that high is losing its influence. And come Sunday in particular, we start to see more of a change to something unsettled. Now out there for this evening, well, some sunshine to end the day, starry skies overhead for tonight. And yes, mist and fog forms. We could see quite a bit of it, I think, for tonight. So it could well be a hazard on the roads. And it's also quite cold as well. We could see a patchy rural frost in places, so you'll probably only see one or the other. So tomorrow morning, a misty, foggy start for some, perhaps a frosty start. The mist and fog, though, should be gone by around about 9 or 10 o'clock, and then we should see lots of sunshine. Now, I say that, we could just see a little bit lurking for perhaps parts of the south coast, but it's touch and go. I think many places should tend to see that clear, and certainly inland, lots of sunshine, and temperatures a good bit up compared to today's values, high teens or low 20s. Of course, if you do keep any mistiness or low cloud around the coast, you've got the breeze coming in off the sea, it will mean temperatures are much more pegged back. These are our times of high water for tomorrow. We've got Chatham at midnight 42 and again at 106 as we head into the afternoon. And this is a picture for tomorrow evening and overnight. So that high pressure starting to slip away. A chillyish night, a few mist and fog patches, but far less so than tonight. And a bright start, I think, on Saturday, but we could start to see some showers moving in later, and that does lead to a more changeable outlook.
TUI sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
So the hay fever season starts, which means we're both miserable until about September.
Yes, dearie me.
It'll be fine. But that's it from us for this evening. In a moment, the ITV Evening News with Charlene White.
Derek will have your late news, but from all of us here, have a lovely evening. We'll all be back tomorrow. Take care.
Bye-bye.